Guys coming today. So how's everybody week? Everybody's good?
Good. Busy. Really busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went and toured the triplex on Tuesday here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and promising, but the old boy, he's got his head in the clouds, and he's wanting 20% down, and he'll carry for 8 years at 10% principal down, but at 6%. So he's not even offering an amortized payment or anything like that.
So interest only.
Yes, 6%.
It's not bad.
I mean, look, it didn't scare me actually. The property's in just an ideal location. I mean, it's top-notch location. Like I said, it's a threeplex. You got the primary home, you got the studio below, and then you got a garage conversion, which is permitted through the city. Everything has its own meter. Well, the 2 units, but the third one runs on the house. Not bad. So I'm trying to put some ideas together to offer the old boy. See if he wants to. I'll give him a house from our Memphis market as down payment, but yeah, he's got to give me some terms better than 6%. There's nothing there on that. So
yeah, especially if it doesn't cash flow, it's no go.
Projected is anywhere between $400 and $4,400 a month, which is very reasonable.
So is it vacant?
Yes. Well, there's one of the family members. They're living there, but they got a small footprint, so it's really not that big a deal. But they're starting to move on it a little bit, but it's like putting duct tape on a dam. And so I may go back over and look at it and see if I can come to something with this guy. Because I got to probably put about 40,000 into it, I think, to get it up and running. But it will probably, it's a matter of me taking on a project personally out of state. I live in Southern California, taking over this one in Fort Collins, and I got family here, so I can come and stay and live cheap and stuff like that. But just to get this thing up and running, it's contemplating it seriously.
You said you're in LA?
I am about 30 minutes west of Palm Springs.
Oh, where's that?
Yucaipa, Redlands area.
Redlands, okay.
Palm Springs.
Is that close to you, Lindsay?
No, I'm in LA.
Oh, okay. So you're on the coast?
Me?
No,
Paul.
No, I'm about 75 miles inland from the coast. Like I said, we're about half hour west of Palm Springs, and 1 hour east of LA. Inland Empire.
Awesome. Well, Paul, so tell us a little bit more about the deal. How did you find that or that area? You said you had family out there, right?
Yeah, I got a agent here that somehow the family touched base with Chris, and we've kind of struck up a relationship. He ended up finding a house that I'm sitting in now that we're converting the lower downstairs into an apartment for my daughter and son-in-law. And just have cultivated a relationship with him that he owns a couple rentals as well. So he gets the game. He's not a retail realtor. So he keeps sending me stuff, but out here, it's high dollar out here. There's not much positive here. So when this one came up, I was like, oh, let me go look at that one. And like I said, I think I spoke with Chris probably about 2 weeks ago. I said that the house is probably about 425, 450. But that's about it. I said, there's just, yeah. So anyways, that's where we're at.
Nice.
What is the purchase price they're offering you?
It started out at 660, it's down to 600 now. But it is non-financeable. Got some exposed wiring. See the downstairs unit. You can't really count that. So if you were to do something like a straight lend on it, all around it just wouldn't qualify for lending. So they understand it's a family ended up with the unit. One of the family members is living in it. And so I think they're getting heat from up above of, hey, we need to resolve this issue and move on. So, like I said, I might put some numbers to it here this afternoon. Speak with Chris again. So,
and it's owned outright?
though. He's got, I think, a 4% loan on it, if I remember correctly, 4.25, something like that. So
How much is remaining on it?
that I got to find out. I've got to. What is the name of that site that you can go and look up? Is it?
I use Property Radar.
There was another one. It located the guy's name and number right there, as all his holdings and everything. But
What about the real estate agent that you're working with? They should be able to get that information for you.
yeah, Chris can. Like I said, I'm here visiting family, helping out and stuff. So it was kind of like just something to go look at it primarily to see if it's worth it, see how much effort I got to put into it if I do take it. Because if I hire some contractors to do it, I'm going to be upside down right out of the gates.
Do you know what the numbers are that works for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would probably come in around 425-ish, something like that, 450. I'll balk on it, but the reality is that is a contractor going to pick it up to do the work? But then what are they going to do with it once they do it? Because are they a management company, or are they just, like I said, there's not much retail side on it,
Yeah. What's their motivation for selling?
Like I said, I think the family is just kind of done with.
Just done with it.
Well, you always end up with one family member that kind of like politely takes advantage of situations. I'm pretty sure that's what the one is that's in there now. So they're ready to move on from it.
Paul, I have a question. Is it a market that you already know?
Yeah, relatively, yeah. Like I said, my daughter and they've lived here 3 years in the town, so I've got an understanding of the town. It's nice. There's a lot of money here. It's just a matter of that doesn't translate into positive monthly cash flow.
So you feel confident that the price 425 is fair?
I do, yeah. Because
And then
put about 40,000 into it, so probably into it about 460-ish, something like that. And so, at minimum, we're at the 1% rule. At minimum, you see. So, plus he'll carry because he'll have to. So there's a little bit of leverage on that because who's going to buy it outright to fix it up? And if you hard money it, you're just upside down from the very beginning, moving forward for 4 months. So that's kind of where. So we're contemplating it.
I will look at 2 different scenarios. Like I will run the numbers at his like sell price that he wants, 600K. How much is he walking away with? Like after closing costs, after paying off the first mortgage, let's say he's walking away with 100K and that's what he wants. Right? But there is a possibility of taking over his loan, which he has a 4%, which we don't see a 4% very often here. So you might want to find out how much left that there is in that loan, because if there's a way if you can obtain the property, not that I've done this subject to the mortgage, and then worked out an equity payment to him for the 100K like he's looking to walk out with. Let's say like you give him 20K and you take over the loan and then you pay 80K over the next 5 years. That could be a possibility if he's interested in that, because he's going to walk away with 100K regardless, and he has to pay by the end of the year. He was going to have to pay 30% of that to the IRS. So that could be a possibility.
Another thing too, Paul, is you could possibly defer payments. So you can ask them, hey, I need a year to rehab, get it rented, get it all up to speed, and then I'll start paying you if that's, something they'd be open to as well.
Correct. Yeah. That's already in the thought process line because, you're throwing dead money in there. I mean, the reward, but the reward is when it gets all leased up.
Yeah. A lot of times the seller finance, purchase price isn't the biggest thing. It's what terms work out for you.
Right.
So as long as you're gaining equity in the property as you fix it up and as time goes on, that purchase price really isn't the most important thing. It's what's that monthly payment and am I cash flowing or can I cash flow with this?
Yeah, because I can give my house in Memphis that it's currently owned outright and it's leased up at, I think it's $13.95 a month. So split that, which is steps above what they're getting now.
Yeah.
So, like you say, if they carry me at, somewhere down around that, whatever, I'm pretty sure his loan was at 4%. And I'm at a 4.5. They're still making money paying the taxes on the portion that they're getting.
Yeah.
and they're getting the yield in a sense on their holding. So yeah, we got ideas coming.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely have to follow up next week, and hopefully you got some good news for us.
Yes, yeah, it'll be nice.
Good.
That's exciting if you can make it work. Do you know what his payment is monthly? Like mortgage payment?
I got to get Chris on that. Like I said, we just looked at it 2 days ago. I think on Tuesday afternoon we looked at it. So I'll touch base with Chris this morning after we're done here.
Hey Vincent, how soon after you started did you get into seller finance and other alternative finance?
3 years ago. So I was probably 2.5 years into investing. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I found I was at work one day and I built a list of just people that owned probably 20 plus properties in Montgomery, Alabama. And I just started cold calling, like, hey, are you interested in selling any of your portfolio, all of your portfolios, anything? Met a gentleman in Corey who I saw he had like 50 something houses at the time. He had so many houses. Younger guy, and I was like, man, let me just call him. Is he open to selling? But we ended up getting like talking, building a conversation and a friendship. And he's like the biggest flipper out there. And the house prices are so low, he just keeps it. Like he doesn't really care if he sells it, he'll just keep it. He's making money on a cash flow every month and putting 40, 50, 60 grand into a house. So now it came to find out he's my now private money lender out there. I seller finance from him. And so it took about 2.5 years for me to kind of learn it and get comfortable. I'm sorry, it took about a year to learn it, and get comfortable with it, pitching it and understanding it.
That's out of Birmingham?
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's out of Birmingham?
Montgomery.
Montgomery, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Now, do you use attorneys to do all that, or are you doing a lot of that yourself and have an attorney review it?
So the gentleman Corey is actually a CPA also, so he'll give me an amortized schedule. When I pitch it with a I have a spreadsheet calculator that is all drawn out with the amortization schedule, the down payment, monthly payment, just outlines everything. And then I use the title. I've only done it in Alabama. So the title company I use, Bailey and Jackson, Scott, he's a lawyer. He'll look everything over as part of the closing. So no, I don't use my own personal one. And I haven't pitched it lately. I haven't been marketing as much out there, but that's kind of on me slowing down a little bit. But I do want to start opening more doors on that avenue for bigger projects, complexes, portfolios, things like that.
Gotcha.
Mark, what's going on with you, sir? Anything you got going on?
No, I'm enjoying the conversations. You guys are brave, investing in those high-end areas like California and Colorado.
Yeah, where are you located, Mark?
So I live in Salt Lake. So I own some properties here, and I'm curious to hear more about your story because I also invest in Huntsville.
Oh,
north of here in Alabama.
Yeah. I'd love to hear about that because that's my top city on my list right now where I want to learn about. So tell us a little bit about that. How's it living out there? And
I'd love to, coordinate anything with you, but I've probably been working out there for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually bought a Homevestors franchise. Have you ever heard of those guys?
No. What is it?
Homevestors. It's the We Buy Ugly Houses signs up there.
Yeah. Oh, that's a franchise.
Yeah, it's a franchise. So I bought the Huntsville franchise. There's another guy out there as well, but I've kind of just moved towards just looking at the MLS because I've got a couple of areas that I really want to focus on, B plus, minus type areas. I'm trying to just stay away from junk,
Yeah.
It's just too much hassle.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly not a pro in Huntsville, but I've got a handful of properties out there that I'm working with, and I've sold a few on seller financing. So I'm doing that, which has kind of been nice because you get cash flow and don't get any calls.
Yep.
But
That's
yeah, I'm
awesome.
kind of hitting Utah and Alabama, but I'm really more interested in Alabama just because the price point, the growth is in the Southeast. It's the only state, the only area on the map I can see that has any, cash flow left in it.
Yeah.
Southeast. Utah's, crazy expensive. I don't know that I'm gonna spend a lot of money here because it's
Are you in? You said you're in Salt Lake.
Salt Lake, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think Lindsay
Memphis?
can test this. She's got a great market as well, right? You're still cash flowing with property manager, with on market listings. Like you're still
Yeah, I
finding
invested
deals.
in Indiana, so Midwest, Hammond and Gary. And Gary is purely a cash flow market, no appreciation. But in Hammond, it's like a B neighborhood, so there's some appreciation there.
and Millennial Mike is the guy in Gary, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found Alabama to be exactly what you said. There's no appreciation really. You're gonna get that steady cash flow. The numbers still work even with these rates. You're gonna find a tenant. You're gonna have issues, but it's been a great market for me so far. I found a good like team of workers out there that all kind of trades, and I'm really happy with that area so far. And I kind of always say, make my money out here in California, but spend it in Alabama.
Nice. So how many units have you got in Montgomery?
I have 13 in Montgomery. Yeah, 13 in Montgomery and then 3 in California.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've actually closed on one that got delayed. I was supposed to close today, but it got delayed. So Montgomery in particular snowed this week, and it never snows out there. So the whole city shut down because they had no idea what to do. So title was closed, Section 8 was closed, everybody was closed all week. So that delayed my closing in my house, house out there. So I gotta make some edits to the perk screen, just things like that they need. But yeah, that's one of the little oddball things. I actually have a plumber right now at one of the properties because the pipes froze. The tenant's texting me right now that he's there. So it's just little things like that will come up. But in the 5 years, I've never had this happen. I've never even heard of snow out there, so it's new to them as well.
So how did you find Montgomery?
So about 5 years ago, in 2019, a friend and I said we wanted to buy real estate. I guess it was 6 years ago now, but it took us about a year because we were just the analysis paralysis. We were shopping all the cities we kind of had in question, and built the LLC.
Good, right?
What's that?
I said the numbers can't be this good, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're looking in Vegas. We were looking at Memphis. We were looking in North Carolina, Alabama, and we were nervous. We were scared, and you know what to do. We were about to drop a lot of cash to buy our first 2 houses cash. So I have a cousin who's a realtor in Montgomery, Alabama, and she was just like, "Hey, just try it out here. Let me send you some houses. Take a look, see if the numbers work." So kind of blindly, did our due diligence, but we looked at probably 100 houses and kind of blindly just said, "All right, let's just do it."
Right.
So we bought one, and then we're like, "Okay, we can do this." And then we bought our second one, and then that one actually we got for such a good deal, we cash out refi, and then we're able to buy 2 more. And then we were like, "Oh, okay." So and we didn't know we were essentially burning at the time. We got a good rate with in 2020, we got a good refinance rate and we got some cash back. We're like, "Oh, that's cool. I got some money and we can put it to the next project." So we were doing burr before we even knew it, and then moved on and just kept growing from there. And I was like, "Okay, this is kind of easy. It has its ups and downs, but it's not too bad." And I just kind of took it and ran with it from there, and started just diving in, learning more and more things, and different types of financing, funding, seller finance, ways to buy property, ways to sell property, and just kind of grew from there. As we built, our team just kind of got bigger. As far as the trades go, the electrician knew a plumber, the plumber knew a sheetrock guy. It just kind of trickled into their own little team. So now everybody kind of works together. We have a great system with our tenants and our trades, and now it's just kind of hands off and kind of easy now. Just looking to grow more out there.
You self-managing, or do you have a property manager?
I self-manage every single property.
Wow.
And I've never had a property manager. I've never even interviewed one or even vetted one.
So how did you set that system up?
Yeah, what was that
We
research?
use, so for 8 of the properties, I use Turbo Tenant, which I very highly recommend. They do the book, we pay for the bookkeeping on one end, and they also, all of our communication goes through Turbo Tenant with our tenants. As of the first of this year, we sent them an email and a text saying, do not call or text us, go through the app. We made sure everybody signed up and everybody's on the program. It's free for them. They can pay through there, they can communicate through there. The other ones I self-manage via phone, basically. The first 8 are with a partner, and then the next ones are all by myself, all the other ones.
Hey, how hard was it to get into Section 8?
Section 8, Lindsay, do you have any Section 8?
I do have Section 8, but my property manager manages everything. All I have to do is send a picture of my ID and a letter that said it was okay.
So yeah, I'll explain a little bit. So with that, I post the house usually on so Turbo Tenant will list the house, Zillow will list the house, and then I also put it on affordable housing. Affordable housing is the Section 8 website, so they can apply, they can see their houses. So usually you'll get a tenant, they'll have a packet in hand of what they're approved for, whether it's a 3-bed at $1,300, whatever it is. As long as it fits, and Section 8 now, first this year, goes by zip code, because there's only like 5 zip codes I invest in Montgomery, so they go off zip code. With that, if you vet your tenant, of course, go through your due diligence. With that, they take it back to Section 8 after you sign a couple documents. Section 8 will then come out and perform a preliminary inspection of the property, make sure outlets are working, no cracks in the windows, weather stripping on doors. They just go through their whole checklist and inspection. Upon passing the property, you get approval. You'll get a move-in date. Tenant's responsible for the deposit usually, and then they'll just start paying first of that month. And I've had nothing but, besides the communication with Section 8, it's a county authority, so the response time is pretty bad. But besides that, I've had nothing but good with them.
I'm thinking a lot towards the Section 8 because they're not going to mess things up for the most part. Because if they screw that system up, they're out.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're essentially their the eyes and ears for Section 8. So yeah, anything goes wrong, damage to the property, you can report those things. But yeah, traditionally they don't want to lose their voucher. A lot of mine are getting free rent; they're not paying anything. So I don't want to lose a free $1,300 a month if I'm low income. So
right.
They tend to be our best one. And Section 8 comes out every 6 months. They'll inspect the property on their own. They do find a lot of random things, but a lot of it is tenant charges. So a hole in the wall, they'll put it as a tenant charge. We'll inform the tenant, as they know already through the inspector, and we'll count it as a tenant charge. Hey, we'll send our guy, but you deal with payment and you take care of it, basically.
How often do you do inspections on those type of things? I know Section 8 has yearly, right?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Is that Section 8 or is that you?
That's Section 8.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they're on it. They're pretty good. That's what's good about too, is you get eyes and ears in the property. There's 3 inspectors. I have all their phone numbers, so I usually call them right after, like, hey, how was the property? What did it look like? Did it smell like? So they're kind of my eyes and ears post inspection.
That's huge. That's even better because it's hard to get into normal residences every 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. And I love having the contact information of them, because I've had them stand by and wait, like, hey, this outlet's not working, I'm gonna have to fail you. I'm like, hey, hold on real quick, I'm gonna send my contractor right over. Call him, he goes, shoots over, he fixes it right there, and then they pass me. I having that good relationship with them, like, all right, I'll just sit in the car and wait for your guy, but he's got 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, I'll shoot him over. If he's free, if it's happened a couple times, if he's free, I'll just go knock it out real quick. She'll give me a passing score and we'll move on.
Yeah, see, I'd be there for the inspection. I'd test everything beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was a CREA home inspector for 2 years.
Oh.
A lot of people are afraid of these inspections, but they're basically basic safety that you would have to have at your rentals. Like for example, in my area, 1 entrance, 1 exit, not blocking any windows, having fire alarms, smoke detectors, like Vincent said, testing the electrical, make sure it works. It's not like something crazy.
Yeah, it's all stuff that you should have done anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it gives you eyes on your property
Mhm.
as well, and how good the renter or tenant is doing, or you know, if they're becoming hoarders or they're like destroying the property. You have like that backup of like what's going on inside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get happen for my duplex. I got lease ups here the end of February, so I'm going to try to get them Section 8 qualified and Section 8 approved, because I can get about $100 more out of one and $200 almost, yeah, $200 more out of the other.
And check the website. I know ours Montgomery Housing Authority has their checklist online, so you can kind of just see what they're going to go for, what they're going to look for that first initial inspection. So that may help. I don't know if your county or would have that, but mine.
I'm pretty sure it's there, and that's I'm gonna go look for.
Yeah.
I'm not too overly worried about it, because when we purchased the property, we went through and did all those immediate things. My wife was a property manager for almost 9 years, and she had Section 42 and Section 8 housing, so she knows, like, it's impressive in my market how many people are living in properties that are rentals that don't have like just the bare minimum requirements, like smoke detectors, CO2 detectors, GFCIs, in all the kitchen and bathrooms and stuff like that. And you're like, so we went through and had our contractor, that was the first thing it did, is went through and light fixtures, you know, that are, you know, having exposed wiring or anything like that. It's wild.
Yeah. Renee, you said the Section 8 have a rent limit. Lindsay, you answered that. Okay. But yeah, they do. You can't just charge $2,000 for a house that's in a 1,200 rent area. I mean, you could if you can get it with a regular tenant, but you know, your Section 8, they're going to be like, no, our max is 1,300 or whatever it is.
Is the limits way off from what you can get without Section 8?
No, traditionally I've seen that they'll even pay a little bit more as an incentive to landlords to rent to Section 8 tenants.
Yeah.
Not a crazy amount from what I've seen in my area, but yes, I have seen it more of an incentive to.
Yeah.
It's fairly competitive in my market too. It's different. It depends on the neighborhood. Like if your neighborhood is a little bit nicer, you probably could get like 50 or 100 in my area more per rent, but I rather do Section 8 because it's like for sure you're gonna get your money on the first. That's every month.
Yeah.
Now, Lindsay, are you solely in Gary or?
Gary and Hammond, which is west of Gary. Yeah.
Gotcha.
One thing also just to note about Section 8 for your investing journey here on forward, if you do a BRRRR and you do put a Section 8 tenant in the property, some lenders will not cash out refi if you have a Section 8 tenant. So vet your lenders, make sure they're okay with it if you do plan to go that route. I will say all they require is your lease, and your lease does not have to state if they are Section 8 or not. So technically it's a yes or no question on you how you want to handle that, but just think about something like that. If you are performing with certain lenders, they will require or they will request you not have a Section 8 tenant.
Well, that makes no sense.
Exactly.
It's guaranteed income.
Exactly. It's all dependent on the lenders and their qualifications and requirements. But yeah, the one I primarily use, he's like, do not put one in there or we're not going to cash out refi.
You got to remember, this is just old, the good old boy mentality. The Section 8 tenant means they're going to destroy your property. So lenders think the exact same way, even though there's no data to prove it.
That's 100%.
DSCR loans, are they going to be any different?
That's what I'm cash out.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, you got to check with your lender.
Yep.
And that's an easy conversation with them, because they'll be like, well, do you have any Section 8? And you're like, well, no, I was thinking of doing it though. You know, it's just easy thing to, even if you do have it, you can just say no. That way you have an idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's also usually a time limit too on it too. It's like, if you actually have a tenant that's living in the property that is a Section 8, and say you don't have, say it's a triplex and the other two are market, you know, they may make exceptions for it as well.
Yeah, I haven't done any multifamily, but yeah, that makes sense. If you're showing a good track record with Section 8 and with your regular tenants, I think they would probably let it slide. The underwriter would possibly let it slide. So just something to think about. You don't want to get finish a rehab on a property and you're finding a lender, and you're like, oh, nobody will lend, nobody will refi on this. So just something to think about when you're vetting out lenders.
You can also shop lenders too.
Yes.
I wonder if that causes any barriers of discrimination, because technically lenders are not supposed to be able
That's a good point.
That's a really good point, Lindsay.
question your race, ethnicity, or where like you get
Yeah.
Even so.
Huh. I never thought about that way.
Yeah. I agree. I think they can get in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I might be taking that one to the table next time.
Yep.
Yeah, we I'm putting a tenant in I'm doing a burr right now. Putting a tenant in today. He just paid his deposit this morning. This one's non-Section 8, but how are you guys vetting your tenants, if for those who have some right now, or who is self-managing, if anybody is?
I manage my Southern California properties, but I just get with them, meet them a couple of times, and kind of find out how they are on the electronic platforms and stuff like that for communication, so that I don't field phone calls all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I use that TransUnion, what's it called again? For credit criminal background check.
Yep.
They punch in all their own numbers. I don't get any of their information. I don't want it. I just simply get out the same report, and just you set the parameters of what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
The program itself confirms, and then it lets you know if something doesn't seem right, it doesn't fit, and you get back with them. You can communicate with them. But the one thing I can offer anybody who's willing to self-manage their own properties, you don't print out anything. Once again, you're trying to condition them to working on the computers and stuff like that. So after I meet with them a second time, make sure they're on time, blah, 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 kind of do a little quick glaze in the back seat of their car to see how much garbage is back there. Because if it's garbage in the back of their car, it's going to be garbage in your house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I email the forms to them. They print them out, and then they bring them back to me. We meet up again. So yeah, that's the way I do it.
Vincent, what was your learning curve on Turbo Tenant?
What do you mean?
What was your learning curve to start up using Turbo Tenant?
They use friendly.
Oh, for the tenants or for my end?
No, the Turbo Tenant platform. What was your learning curve on that?
It was pretty simple. I feel like it was very easy. They gave us a welcome call. We spent about an hour on the phone just learning everything that they do and what it all entails. How to reach out to our tenants for them to sign up, how to ensure that they are signed up. It was super simple. I love it. Like I wish we did it years ago. So far,
I've dealt with many property managers over the years, and I'm sorry, most of them are not very good.
Yeah.
And with that platform, I might be able to do it myself, and I'd much rather do it myself.
It's been nothing but great so far for us. It's only been a month full time in it, but it's been awesome. I'm going to move over my tenants here shortly to it as well. And then the bookkeeping is really good too. You'll have to go through, if you're already established, you have to go through your past year basically and do your bookkeeping yourself. But once it's in, it learns your amounts. It'll learn kind of the trends minus any unexpected expenses, but it'll learn your trends and it'll automatically categorize it. So if it sees, whatever, you can put rules in as well. And it's been great so far for the bookkeeping side and both sides of it. I really recommend it.
Question to you, Vincent.
What's that?
I said question for you.
Yes, sir.
You handle viewings and stuff like that for properties that you have there. Can Turbo Tenant offer help on that side, or do you have to do it through some kind of realtor? Yeah. And then
so luckily my cousin is a realtor, so she will show the properties for me.
Gotcha.
After vetting a couple tenants, I give them a 2-hour window. And I put her there for 2 hours, basically, usually an hour or 2 hours, whatever.
Gotcha.
If they don't make it, you're out. And I'm not giving you a whole day. I'm not, going off your time. Here's a 2-hour window. If you can make it, go. She'll be there. She does exactly what you do, walks the car, meets them, builds rapport with them, asks them questions, gets to know them. It's only because it's my cousin, kind of, I get this kind of treatment. But she'll do all that, basically, and then call back with the report. They were awesome. They were nice. And go from there. And I kind of pick from the couple. Maybe I do usually narrow it to about 2 or 3. I don't want to put her in any danger, so I kind of narrow it to 2 or 3. And I've already vetted them myself.
Correct. Okay.
So I'm not sending somebody.
But Turbo Tenant doesn't have a referral sheet for somebody in that area that you can pick to do that your cousin's doing?
No, not that I know of. I haven't looked at that though, because we have her, so I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a good question though.
Okay. Yeah, because that's for this year. My goal for 25 is to pick off a couple of my rentals to self-manage. Because when across the board, we're probably losing about $1,600, $1,700 a month on management fees, and so it's like
I really see property management. No offense, Lindsay. Sorry, kind of going away in the near future, or slowing down, I should say, just because of these apps are capable of so much, or they can do so much. There's still going to be, the person that just wants nothing to do with their properties, just money coming in every month. That'll always be there. Right. But as these apps get easier and easier, and these sites get easier and easier, I think it'll start transitioning to that.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of people, just buy 5 properties in a different state and don't know any contractors, don't know who to call. As long as you have I know I can call Tom, and Tom will go out to this property and fix this for me. I think we'll start to see a slight shift.
Same here. Yeah.
Jim, I use propertyleads.com. I recently, as of 2 weeks ago, another one of my lead sources actually just closed down, but propertyleads.com is my main one for the paid leads. If you guys want to do that, please use my email, I think is what you can sign up for. You get like $250, or I think. But you basically bid on leads by count, or you pay for leads by county. And I like those. That's my favorite one so far.
Troy, I think, has a question.
Oh, sorry, Troy. What's up, dude?
Yeah, I had a question, but also I was just going to chime in too. So I'm out of state investor. I have property, and I have a duplex right now in Kansas City, Missouri, and I live in Northwest Washington. My wife and I, we are self-managing property owners, and this was our first experience doing it out of state. And so we went the route of leasing up with our property by, marketing it on all platforms as much as possible. The one thing I will say, we were fortunate that our contractor would go out there and view the property for us. But after our experience we got a tenant in that was really, really helpful and was able to help do the showings for the other unit that's above him.
Wow.
And that helped. And what I did is, for his efforts, I would provide a $50 gift card to their favorite restaurant of choice. I did it 2 times. However, looking back at it, I mean, there was a lot of managing of showings. I wouldn't go that route anymore. From my conversations with a lot of out-of-state investors who self-manage, I would go the route where I'd set a specific date and time for viewing. And then I would probably do this next time around. I'd probably either have my contractor or my real estate agent in the area. I would just, pay him a flat fee to go out and be out there for 4 hours, and then just mark it as it's available for viewing on this date. Be there. Anybody that's interested in renting the property, and who are going to want to rent it, need to fill out a rental application in order for us to take it seriously. First come, first serve, and just go from there. And that, you take the best candidate out of those showings from that group, because that way you're not. I spent so much time, even during my work, because I drive truck as a living, and I do LTL, and so I was managing it while working, of incoming up, interested leads and stuff, and trying to book a time here and there. It just got to be way too much. It was too problematic, and I was fortunate that I didn't have to really pay that much to do that, but because I had a good tenant that was already there. But going that route again, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
I think you probably can find somebody that's a property manager, not to pay a property manager fee, but a la carte services.
exactly.
For them.
Yep.
I think that's what Mark, the financial firefighter, does.
Yep.
That's
And
the
then
unicorn. That's the unicorn, right?
there's that. Like if you have like, we also have a cleaner I know that could be out there that would show it, that's not that far in the area. And you know, if I gave her probably, you know, $80, $100 for her time, you know, that would be suitable for her. So it's having your team and having people in your team that are willing to do something like that. It's just coordinating with them, you know, and going from there. Or I know people that have, you know, ties to other real estate, you know, investors in the area. You might have someone who's just getting started in the game that's, you know, wholesaling deals, that you, if you have a connection to anybody like that who's learning for the first hand and just saying, hey, you know, I got this opportunity for you, you know, how would you like to make $100? You know, this is what I need. I need someone to be at my property for 4 hours, and that's good experience for them as well. I've talked to other out-of-state investors that have done that route as well.
And sometimes too, I've also had this last showing this week, my contractor actually showed it for me. He stayed there. I narrowed it down to one guy who I was pretty happy with, and we went with I went with had my contractor to sit there as he was finishing up some work, and he just showed the property for me there. So I just put a little bit extra onto whatever we were paying him that day, and he was able to take care of it. And
yeah,
then
the
he gave me the
contractor
same
route's
rundown.
awesome.
What's that?
The contractor route's awesome because,
yeah,
especially if you have a good relationship with them, they have a vested interest in your property because they know that if something goes wrong with it, they're going to be the one that's generally going to come back there to fix it. So if they're watching the people, they're kind of getting an idea of what their habits like, their personality traits, you know, what are the conversations are when they're viewing the property, you know, what their vehicle looks like when they show up. You know, they provide some really good information for you because they're like, and another thing is if they're in that market and they do a lot of work in that area, they kind of know what to look for in terms of the, you know, the quality of people that come and go.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to say, and what I originally raised my hand for, is about the Section 8, is that I know that if you contact your local housing authority, they're usually really, really, well, in my experience, I should say this, and from having conversations with like Frank's accountability group on Wednesdays, that through other people's experience after I mentioned this, is that you contact your housing authority. They're really friendly generally and helpful to try to provide any information that you would need in order to analyze your market to see what they're going to provide. And plus on top of that, they're going to explain to you in pretty specific detail how it all works.
Yes.
So, you know, they're going to have their values on what per basically it's a bedroom count that they pay out. Right. And what that consists of. And then on top of that, you know, a lot of them generally, in my experience in my area, it's you have to account for expenses. So whatever they're going to pay out, you have to account for what their utility costs are going to be per month. You have to factor that in order for you to actually have a dollar amount per rent that will meet that. So say they're going to rent a 2-bedroom, 1-bath unit out for $14.95 a month. That's what they're going to pay out. You have to account for if your tenant is going to be paying all utilities, water, gas, power, whatever it may be. Say it's going to be $250 a month. That's more than likely they're going to be paying. You have to deduct that from the amount that they're going to pay out. So that $495 minus the $250, and that's generally what your maximum rent is going to be.
What's up, Carl? I see you got your hand up.
Yes, I actually wanted to ask or get more details about that property manager that will provide a la carte services. Like, can you talk to me more about that?
Yeah, I think Mark is the one doing it. He's on here. But I don't know if he can talk. But what I heard from him was that he had been using 2 different property managers in this area, and he started dabbling in self-management. And he has I think 3 properties that he's self-managing. If I'm not mistaken, he can correct me. And he started using Hemlane for managing his properties out of state in Pittsburgh, I'm not mistaken. And then you've seen one of the property managers paying them a flat fee for their like showings and their he still has access to their handymans and referrals and things like that.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Thank you. That's helpful.
Himlane is another highly recommended property management software for anybody else looking into those. I've heard that one's really good.
Yeah.
I also heard that they're doubling their prices a little bit.
I was
So
gonna say
I'm not
there,
100%
there's a fee.
sure I would recommend right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael Silver.
No, it's fine. As I said, there's a fee associated with that too. So I looked into it because we've been using Logify and no, not Logify. That's our other short-term rental app. We've been using Rent Ready, and we were comparing because we were having to renew it. So we were debating if we were going to keep it or if we were going to change. And I looked into Hemlane. Hemlane provides a lot of good services for you, but it's also at a fee. Like you're going to be paying, X amount of dollars a month. And so if you want those other services, you pay additionally for it. So, I mean, it could be as upwards to like $60 a month. And it just really depends on, is that cost effective for you and your properties?
Yeah.
Right.
So
because also, guys, when you have properties too, you get a discount on volume of properties underneath one roof if you want to stay with property management company. Because I've done that in the past, where I've got an old saying that property management companies are good when they're good and they suck when they suck.
Mm-hmm.
There's no gray. They're either on the trajectory up or down, and it's just once the fish starts to smell, you throw it overboard and get to the next guy. And so the point being, though, that once you get, typically it's over 5 doors with a property management company, you can start trimming 2 points off your fee pretty quick. And so I've gone down 3 points on my properties in Tennessee, so it's done well. The biggest challenge is if they don't pay. That's the thing that kind of gets you. It's like, okay, so don't pay. So now what's my timeline to start moving on these guys to get them out? And that's where I'm looking for the self-management myself that picks up the slack right then and there. When the first day of late is, who do I go to now? Because that's the big one. Because the contractor eyes on, boots on the ground, you can pretty much get that once you find a team like you got Vincent over in Montgomery. But once they miss a payment, now what? And so that's why I'm asking around too, as far as self-management out of state.
Yeah.
Hey, Troy. Is your short-term rentals out of state or are they local for you?
No, it's about as local as they can get. It's on my property.
Oh,
I have one short-term rental. It's a ADU. So it's actually a DADU. It's a detached dwelling unit that's attached to our garage that I operate. But we've explored buying other properties to do it, and then I've actually explored about doing a co-hosting and stuff like that. And I actually had a couple clients lined up to do co-hosting, but I pulled the plug on it because I've gotten overwhelmed with projects I got going on right now for me. So it's just I can't stretch myself out any further than I already am. And plus I got 3 kids that are, one's in high school, one's in middle school, soon to be in high school, and another one is in elementary school, soon to be in middle school. So I'm a busy dad.
Gotcha.
Been there.
But what did you have questions for in regards to short term?
Well, see, that's going to be my starting point. I'm in California, so I'm probably going to be putting an offer in their property in the next couple of days. I'm going to start out with short-term rental, and I'm a contractor, so I take care of all the rehab and anything else, and I'll self-manage it. So that's because I want to be local for the first investment that I do. And the biggest thing I like about it, especially where I'm putting it, because it's outside of Yosemite, it's got.
Oh, nice.
I can easily cash flow it. If it doesn't work, I could sell it. I can LTR it, and I wouldn't make it quite a bit of money, but I can also use it as a home base to be able to do contracting for the area. So there's all kinds of upsides to it. Plus, it's actually 4.5 acres, but not all buildable. So I can add. It's got 2 units.
Wow.
I can add a 3rd unit on it. I can potentially put glamping facilities on it as well. So there's so much upside. I want to take.
Hit me up. I could talk to you at length about a lot of good options that you would have in terms of the short-term rental. I'm very knowledgeable in that area. I actually I tried purchasing 2 other properties in my neck of the woods. So I live just shortly outside of North Cascades National Park. And so about 70% of our guests that travel to our property during the prime time of the season are exclusively coming here to stay to go hiking in that national park. And so there are a couple of properties. I'm very fortunate with my work that I travel up and down that area once a week. And during the summer, I get connected with a lot of homeowners. I know the area pretty well. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's not that much competition in the area. So there was a property that I knew from some National Parks Service employees. They had owned a property and they turned an A-frame into a rental property, and they were just killing it. They were grossing damn near 100,000. Well, they're grossing about $78,000 a year on just the one property, and then they expanded and put in a geodesic dome, and they basically did very little to market it. Terrible pictures, all kinds of stuff. And I went to do a seller finance deal on it, and it just price didn't work for them, and they were lucked out on getting a killer smoking deal from someone else that actually probably most likely has a short-term rental business, because they came in and purchased it for about $250,000 more than I offered.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So with all the comps that I did in the area, the property, because they had a real estate agent, or they actually had a appraiser come up there and appraise their property for them, and they listed it like 428, 450, 440 and stuff like that in comparison. But they didn't appraise it as a short-term rental. They just appraised it as a STR.
Yeah.
And I saw all the financials on it, and I could see everything on it. But I offered them, list price with, good terms that would work for me. But the buyer, they had 2 buyers, and it was a competition. One offered them 620, and the other one offered them 610. So can't compete with something like that. But that property loan, when I analyzed it, it could easily have made 120 in gross a year.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. The AirDNA is really difficult on some of these remote areas like that, because there's not enough for them to go off of. Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, too, the people that are doing these properties are not doing them well. Their pictures are just horrible. Their decorations are horrible. Amenities are horrible. It's unreal.
Yeah, hit me up. I got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that, and I got 2 years of experience of operating a short-term rental underneath my belt. So we use Lodgify actually to promote our property. So it's not just on Airbnb, it's on Vrbo, it's on Booking, it's on Expedia, so forth. So hit me up.
I'm going to use this setup, and then I want to go outside as well, do long-term and out of state, and do long-term and short-term other places. I want to have a mixture of everything, because I don't want to count on one media, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Here, I'm going to put my phone number in the chat. Just go ahead and save it and give me a holler, and I can explain a lot. You have a great opportunity, especially with that amount of property. You could get on for glamping too. You could easily do a hip camp to do tent sites, RV sites, all kinds of stuff with that kind of property. You could really make a killing on that property.
Yeah, the drawback to the glamping part is it's going to cost me like $30,000 in county fees just to get on the docket. That's they could say no after spending that kind of money.
I would say focus on what's going to generate money up front first.
Exactly.
And then pull that trigger.
Yeah. So thanks for the help. I appreciate it.
All right, I have a question for you about that ADU detach.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Troy.
Yeah, go for it.
Did you take advantage of cost segregation on that ADU, or did it give you trouble because it was your primary residence?
Say that one more time. I didn't quite understand it.
Yeah, did you do a cross segregation on that bill?
No, I didn't do a cross seg on it at all, because the cross seg is going to cost you. And at the point where we're at, we didn't analyze that or care to analyze that. Primarily, the way we were looking at it is like, we bought a fixer upper for our house. It's a 1910 farmhouse that needed a lot of love. And so when we purchased the property, we knew that we were going to have to come in and do a lot of elbow work ourselves and fix it up. So our primary focus was to get that that unit turned and renovated. We poured about 15,000 into that, and then we did it over winter and got it up and running. So from there, because even the structure that it was in is a part of the garage, like the roof was leaking on the garage side of it. So we had to go in and actually rip the roof completely off, basically doing a pop top, if anybody understands what that means. And that's basically just completely removing a roof and putting a new roof back on it. And that's the trusses, that's everything. So we end up spending $20,000 on top of that, replacing the roof, and then another 8 residing it. So we put a lot into it, but it's basically in line for what we're going to do the rest of the property. But what our intention is to get that short-term rental up and operating, so that it was generating capital to basically offset our costs for renovating our primary house. So whatever we generated off that, we were going to pour it back into the renovation projects on the primary house, is what our intention was for that. And we were seeking, specifically when we were buying at that time, we were either going to do a live-in, duplex, triplex, fourplex, whatever, multifamily, or we were going to buy a property that had a dadu on it. And we were lucky enough that we found the property in an area that we'd actually wanted to live in for a long, long time. And it just was basically what is a bankruptcy property that fell into our lap. We got fortunate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wrote down a couple things, Jim. You said about is that the same property you talked about last week about putting an offer in?
No, that one, they were playing too hardball with that. This one's actually in Yosemite.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a different one. It's one I wanted to do, but somebody put a close to cash offer and then they backed out. So
do whatever you can to get that property. National parks are a gem when it comes to like short term. Like,
yes,
anybody has a property in a national park, you do well.
Yeah, it's out. It's 35 minutes from the entrance, because you really can't get anything inside. You're talking millions.
That's pretty much as close as you're going to get. So that's practically inside.
Yeah, and here's the kicker too. It's right across the street from Auto Camp.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. So I'm using their marketing and everything else. And in the areas, you have Auto Camp, you have Firefly, you have KOA, and you have what's the other one? There's one other one there too. So they've done their market research in that area.
Yeah, you'll do well. Just get her. That's all I can say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the offer's probably going in today, and whether they're going to accept it or not, because that's one thing I've found is these people who buy these houses 15 years ago don't put any money into them. They think they're going to get that Zillow amount. Yeah, like Paul was talking about. Everyone thinks they have a gold mine, and they don't realize what it costs to rehab that facility. Just don't get it.
Hey, Ryan, I had on the notes as well, you were adding 4 units. How's that coming along, or any updates on that? If you're listening.
No, we're still doing the refi. So we still need to get the last tenant in that will fill up the building. Then we can do the appraisal and then do the refi, considering what you said earlier about Section 8 tenants.
Yeah.
You're about to get some money back, though. That's nice. Put it in the next deal.
Yeah, exactly. I could really use it too.
On that, I was going to make a comment back on that Section 8 because I did get information on our Memphis, Tennessee market. The MHA has updated their 25 voucher program prices. And so some of the other counties where you other guys have Section 8 housing, they've increased substantially. We're talking over $600 on a 3-bedroom unit over the past 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So because they go on past comps to some extent, remember, we're coming off of those 2 years of rent increases that were pretty dang big. And so governments never look forward. They always look in the back. Hence the reason they're always banging into walls. But just as a talking point, in a sense, I have gone to kind of reshuffling the deck in a sense to where I've got my properties that are good, nice quality areas and stuff like that. But I've also moved some other properties over to Section 8 in the event that the economy kind of stumbles a little bit over the next year. I've kind of got an increased probability of cash flow off those properties, not to mention the increases in the per bedroom count that some of the counties are offering. So keep that in mind, because like I said, ours has gone, Memphis Housing Authority has gone up a lot over the last 2 years.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, don't stick with one idea. Kind of float around a little bit, you know. Like you say, Vincent, you got your California properties to help increase the holding out of state.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Mark's asking who's going to be in Vegas. Is everybody going to Vegas? I know Troy, Lindsay.
Yes, I am.
Jim's going. Okay.
Do you know if anybody's doing a Friday night meetup or anything like that? I know Dion has the Thursday night, but I'm not flying until Friday.
I don't know.
Yeah, Frank, old guy REI was thinking about trying to put one on, or knew somebody that was. So
on Thursday, okay.
Yeah,
I won't
Friday.
be until, on Friday.
Yeah,
Friday.
Okay. I'll probably be in late Friday. I'll be staying at the Fountain Blue. I'm not sure where everybody else is.
I'm at Strat.
Okay. Oh, you'll be right across the street.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know. I haven't been to Vegas in like 5 years.
Well, I
have a love-hate relationship with that place.
Yeah, I got season tickets for Raiders, so I'm there every other weekend. So
gotcha.
There you go.
I'm like, it's the thought to going back again after the season. It's like,
yeah. Well, you got Pete Carroll this morning. I saw that.
Yeah, we got him. I sent the message out to the buddies to buy stock in the bubblegum company that he chews on.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see.
Anybody have anything else? Any questions? Any wins? Any losses? Anything they want to share? Anything we can follow up with next week?
Any homework for you guys?
Yeah.
I will probably have a conversation with that triplex in Fort Collins. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, good. I got that written down.
Yeah. So we'll see.
One thing that I've kind of set my own goals is try to reach out to 2 new wholesalers a day.
Okay.
So however you meet them, whether it's Instagram, Reddit, any social media platforms, text, whatever you can get in, try to meet like 2 new wholesalers and just get on their buyers list.
You find wholesalers at Reddit?
I'm sorry, what?
You find wholesalers on Reddit?
I've found no less than probably 15 on Reddit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't even really use it.
There's my realtor right
somebody
there.
had told me just to post I buy from Sacramento to the Bay Area, and I did that, and my phone was blowing up, and I got on a bunch of buyers lists. I met one actually. Yeah, we're putting an offer on a $1 million property right now, or next week, hopefully. So that's as a fixer. So like just from a Reddit wholesaler. So I would just say I have a goal of just meeting 2 a day. And just getting the word out there, getting your name out there, and just getting on their list, and help with more and more deals, even out of state. I reach out to a lot of them out of state via Facebook groups or social media, however you can.
And all that flip stuff and everything you're doing, that's all hard money and private money?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. See, that's my next step after I get this whole setup with the STR done in Yosemite, is to work on that type of thing, because I can do all the rehab.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to do flips. I would love to do more of buy and hold. If I did a flip, I'd probably want to keep it for a year, because those get to a regular capital gains rather than because that's going to hit me hard.
I hate flips. I don't want to. I don't want to be that business model. But since I've left the W-2, I just need money, coming in essentially. So this is more of just funding for now. I don't want to base my business on like my mentor. He's avid flipper, great at it. But that's his business, and that's what he's into, and that's what he does. He does have buy and hold properties, but I want to keep everything I buy. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense in the Bay Area to keep
what about doing a buy? You actually take title and then do a rent back for 6 months, and then do the rehab, and then you have it for a year.
I would love that, but even at what I'm buying these for, I couldn't even rent it for even close to what my payment is. So.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's hard money. Yeah,
exactly. yeah, it's a lot. I would love, trust me, I would love that. I hate selling. I don't want to list. I don't want to rely on somebody else for my paycheck, essentially. But it is, it is what it is. It's part of the game. I'm getting a lot of experience with it. It's starting to be kind of fun. It's just still a grind, but
And that's all California, you're not doing any out of state flips?
No, everything is Burr out of state. I'll keep everything out there.
Right.
Yeah, I just make sure I get the deal for 40, 50 cents on the dollar and then put
Gotcha.
my tab into it and burn out of it.
Vincent, how do you know, your private money lenders, do they give you like a line of credit or do they do per deal?
So one I use is purchase only. So the Alabama guy I spoke about, Corey, he's strictly just purchase. He won't do rehab. So for those, I've actually brought in separate private money, like an old coworker of mine. He invests with me. I brought in his money for the rehab, and I just pay him an interest payment every month. And then with him, he's like, "Hey, keep this money out. Just keep rolling it into the next projects. Just keep giving me an interest payment." Mm-hmm. With other ones, I brought in second position, so they'll fund the down payment of the hard money. And then same thing. I'll usually, for those, I'll structure when I sell the property, they get their interest. Mm-hmm. So for example, they give me 100, they take second position, I give them 14% with a point. I'll usually give the point up front, right? So there's $1,000 as a thank you. And then once we sell, if I'm in it 4 months, whatever, they get that 14% on top of their 100.
Do you have any things that actually where you can actually pay it out at the end when it's sold, or is it all monthly payment? That's
what I'm talking. Yeah, so those second position that bring in the down payment, I'll usually structure those as once I sell. So the one of the guys I have private money with right now, we have our agreement to where once these two properties sell, he gets all his money plus that interest back at the end.
Yeah, that's way more appealing because then you're not worried about that monthly hit every time.
Exactly, that's exactly how we structure. Because I already have a payment with the hard money lender. It's like adding his on there. And it's not a lot. It's just something you don't really want to worry about. So once we sell, he'll get paid out and he's done. Move on to the next thing. So it all depends on what they feel comfortable with. I have two that don't even care about going on title. They are just cool with handing me the money. And then I have one who's like, I want first position. So he funds the purchase. And then that's traditionally what's going on. So I'm right now working on securing. My big goals are, getting on wholesalers list, of course, every day, and then sourcing more private money. Just, I have different ways to pitch it of just having more funds available for more projects.
My question for you is, how many flips are you managing at one given time?
6 right now.
That's a lot of private money.
Yeah, it's a lot to.
So that's your portfolio in Alabama pay for that right now, or is that?
No, the flips. Well, the 3 out here in California, I'm in no money essentially, because I brought in that second position lender for the down payment on those 3. These 3. I used my own money for the Burrs in Alabama. So he comes in purchase price, I rehab, but then I was saying earlier, I have an old coworker who kind of lent me majority of those funds, and I just keep rolling them from one to the other. But yeah, it's a lot to track. And a good friend of mine who I kind of do some investing, and he's helped me out a lot in my journey. We wanted to talk about things like and bring up like when you have all these real estate, you have these investments, but there's still a business side to this. There's still bookkeeping, there's still tax, CPAs, things like that. That you have to take into account, and that gets expensive. You pay. This bookkeeper is crazy expensive. The CPA is expensive. Like things like that to structure your entities, all that to structure that business side it takes a toll, and it's very expensive. That's things to think about. It's not truly just buy 10 rentals, retire from your job, and you're done with forever, the rest of your life, vacation every weekend. But there's a lot that goes. And now is that season, right? That people are doing that. And
how much stress do you have on that?
Ask my wife and my kids. Yeah, no, I kind of tell her it's like a fun stress. Like I'd rather be stressed on this than at my old job.
The 9 to 5 stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. This stress outweighs the other stress, right? Like I'm doing this myself. I'm working myself. My kids are walking the properties with me. Like I'm making every practice. I'm at every game. I'm at their school. I pick them up, drop them off. Like, the good outweighs the bad with this, but yeah, it's definitely stress. Like,
my kids are all grown, and I did the same thing. I've been self-employed for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I was able to do all that. I coached my kids for 18 years, all that type of stuff. So there was definitely drawbacks, definitely stressful, working month to month. Yeah, that type of thing was difficult.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a different situation trying to get some, because I've been a self-employed contractor. I have no money in retirement. So that's why this whole journey is starting.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's important. That's huge.
So, and it stress is relative. We flipped a truck on going down to LA on I-5. It caught on fire. Yeah, this was many years ago. That was stress. And then the trial after that, because the repair company screwed up the wheels and the wheel fell off. So that was stress. After that event, I had one other project that was stressful, but after those 2 events, that was stress. Nothing that stresses me that much anymore. It's just
do you have a question?
Got 2 questions actually again. I'll start out. So my wife works for a certified IRS tax agent. So she's getting just right up to the cusp of being crazy busy. But she always tells me from her experience, because they handle like 230 clients that they do payroll and everything else. She says the businesses that take really good P&Ls, like they generally are really good about saving them a lot of money on their taxes. And so versus the businesses that you ask them for their P&Ls and they go like, well, what are P&Ls? Then you're like, oh, it's a headache because they don't realize like how much they're losing because they're not keeping track of their expenses and what they can use as write-offs. And being able to understand that can play a huge factor, especially as real estate investors. When you travel to a conference, when you travel to your property, you're paying money, especially out of state. If you're traveling there, all you have to do is go and check out your property and you can write that off on your expenses, the whole entire trip. So, it's take good P&Ls, if you don't really understand like taxes very well, which it's very complicated, have a really good tax representative that can figure that information out for you, and they can spell it out for you too. That can save you a lot of money. Another question was for you, Vincent. I was trying to say something about your flips. Now I'm drawing a blank on it, so I can just shoot you a text message.
Yeah, just text me. You're only as good as your team, like Troy was saying. Like, if you can find somebody you mesh well with and that will actually benefit your business, that goes a long way.
Yep.
Jen and Kenny, I haven't heard from you guys. Are you guys working on something this week or next week or?
I don't think so. We're in contract for a property. I think it's supposed to close end of the month. I think that's it. And then figuring out the rehab. I just started a new job like at the end of November or early December, so I'm struggling to balance everything. But that is happening. It's a duplex in Texas where we mainly invest in. So once that happens, I think the goal is to rehab it. But we lost our contractor at the end of last year because he ran off with some money. So we're gonna have to try out a new contractor. This one was recommended by our agent. So there's that, and then there's a tenant on one side that's been there for a long time. So the market, the rent is not market rent, but we don't want to spend more money to rehab it. So we'll leave that person there and let that be. And I think their lease doesn't end until next year anyway. And then the other side is vacant. So we're thinking about making it like a midterm rental. We already have one there, so we have some experience doing that. So that's the goal, and to hopefully get it up in like 4 months maybe. I told Kenny yesterday 6 months, and he's like, please don't do 6 months. So but it's usually for us, we're W-2 employees, we're just long-term investors. We don't know the strategies of like wholesaling, finding your own deals, flipping and stuff like that. So just slow and steady, just really basic type of investment strategies for us. just because we don't know them right now. So we'll see how that goes. But usually things come up and units break and HVACs break. So we'll see how it goes. And that's our next project probably. So we're supposed to close at the end of this month, I believe, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Jen, have you interviewed the contractor you guys are thinking about using, the one that the real estate agent referred?
I did. I liked him because he asked the right questions. They actually recommended a couple, like 3, and then one gave us a quote without even asking us what we wanted. I think he just, I mean, I know he walked the property with the agent, but this one asked a lot of questions like, what kind of windows do you want? Do you want the grid or just the basic? And just a lot of, like, we just went through the video of the house. We're out of state, right? I'm in California, actually. So just went through the video, talked it through. I liked him. He came back high, like they all came back high. So I think for me, the biggest struggle is like, I don't know. And this is probably something we could do better because we have a couple of deals under our belt, but like how much things should cost, right? Are they pulling a fast one on us, right? Things like that, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, he walked through it with us. I like him. And then he does it as like a business. He gave me his like website and his Facebook page to like check out his work. Quite frankly, to be honest, I've been so crazy and busy that I haven't even checked out his Facebook page. I don't think Kenny has either. We're kind of just taking it day by day with life and stuff like that. But because we're closing soon, I actually just talked to Kenny this week and I'm like, maybe we should talk to the contractor again to ask him more questions and get that started, because once we close, we got to move on it. So we tend to take our time, unfortunately, because of life, and that ends up making us bleed more than we actually should have to bleed. Yeah.
Oh, I feel you on that one. I know how it is. The one thing I would say is ask them if they work for other investors, because if they're a contractor, I mean, especially if they're coming in and throwing numbers at you already, I would side on the side of caution, because not gonna like down talk a contractor there, James, but there are contractors out there, they want to do nice work and they will charge a premium for it, and they'll do nice work and they'll charge you a premium for it. And then there are contractors out there that understand you as an investor, like, this is a rental property, like, I just need it to look nice for tenants, but I don't want to be spending a premium to get it to that point. Where can you flip this property for me and make it at a reasonable price so we can generate income off this property? Because having a contractor that understands that is super beneficial, especially if you're investing in a market that you're intending on building a portfolio with. It's nice to have a contractor you can rely on for a while.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, it's about, like, the hardest thing for us has been building a team. That's why, like, we got to Texas a couple years ago and we don't want to move, because even though shiny object syndrome, and you hear about deals and great deals, and then you want to go here and there, for us it took us a long time to build a team, and we're having to flush out people like our agent. I talked about it with Zuber extensively. Like, I feel like our agent like dumped us, like it was a relationship and just like no more, because we were putting disrespectful Kenny was putting disrespectful offers, and I think she got a little bit annoyed by that. And so we replaced our agent. Lindsay was really helpful with giving us, and Zuber helpful giving us some advice on how to incentivize them to not upset them, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to get a good deal so we all can make money. And then our contractor late last year with our MTR, he's a contractor or a GC, I guess, right? So he'll do some work, but he subcontracts some of the other stuff. And like, he gave money to a subcontractor and they ran away and I couldn't find him. So like, yeah, I think that's one part that we have to do better on. So I've been trying to attend more of the Lumberjack. I follow Zuber a lot, less of like Dion and Lumberjack, but I've been trying to listen more of Lumberjacks. Like, he has a live, I think, on Thursdays at 7, just because he's so handy. Like, I want to hear some of those stories and ask like some of my questions and feel like I understand the process more, so I don't get ripped off, especially in Texas. I mean, I have family in Texas, so no, nothing, but like, everybody doesn't like Californians. So every time I say I'm from California, I don't know what they're doing. If they're adding like a premium. I have a neighbor in, with my MTR, I became like, I think we're friends, but he always says there's like this premium, there's this tax that just automatically happens when you say you're from California. So, stuff like that I worry about because we're traditional like W-2 that's not handy, I would say. So like pricing and costing and like, are they telling us they're doing it, but they're actually not doing it? And making shortcuts, things like that, we need to improve on. So yeah, but thank you for that advice. I'll ask more questions and maybe
I would
find more
just say
contractors.
build up like a protocol that you guys do. I would highly recommend getting referrals from the contractor.
Okay.
That's when I interviewed my contractor. I interviewed, I think, 4 other contractors, and I got referrals. And when they say, "Oh yeah, no problem, I'll get referrals for you," no, not a problem, and then they send them to you right away, then that's someone you can generally trust. Another thing is whenever you do business, make sure you get their business license. Make sure they can provide you with the 1099. If they can't, then don't do business with them.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah. I'll ask I don't think I've asked for referrals. I think I just like the first contractor we had, we just trusted the realtor. And then, yeah, he's the guy that actually ran off with the money. But yeah, that's really good advice. I'll take that. And All Nighter corrected me. Lumberjack's at 6. I didn't know that actually. I thought it was.
Jen, I have been a contractor for a very long time. The biggest thing is you've got to create your own scope. And like Troy was talking about, every job is different. So if you're doing an STR, you're going to want a higher quality. If you're doing a long-term rental, you're going to want it livable. You also have to take into account, do you want to repair all the systems and have them newer so you don't have to worry about as much CapEx? But the biggest thing is creating a scope of work and also a payment plan. They are, at least in California, only allowed to take 10% down, and then they can take a material deposit as well. But you have to have a payment plan. Demo is a certain payment. Rough inspections are another payment. Drywall's another payment. Paint's another payment. So make sure you have a payment plan. Do not ever give any money, everything up front, ever.
Okay. I'll probably come talk to you, Jim, when that happens. It's going to happen pretty quickly. I think the old contractor, we gave him like bits and pieces as well, like not everything up front. But then I think at the last stretch of it, he asked for, I think, like $5,000 to finish up the carpet to pay his guy, and we did it. And then he like ran off with the carpet was never done. So we ended up, I think it was $5,000. We ended up having to do an additional 5 just so that he could wrap it up with somebody else.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did it in like chunks as well, but yeah, maybe I'm sure that could have done better. But when that deal, like when we finish, when we do close this deal at the end of the month, I think I'll probably reach out to you guys again to maybe get more advice. But yeah, that's really good, Jim and Paul. Or is it Paul or Troy? I forgot who was talking to me. Troy, right? Yeah, Troy, yeah. Oh, and then All Nighter corrected me. Lumberjack's at 6 p.m. I guess. I thought it was 7, but it's 6. Yeah.
And Vincent, you were talking about lead generation. Lumberjack has something coming up this weekend about the same thing. There's some company that's charging like $540 a month, and they give you a whole number of leads.
$540 a month?
Yeah, $540 a month, but they give you like 100 and something potential sellers. Yeah, it's coming out this weekend. I don't know all the details, but
I pay $400 or $500 a lead right now.
Yeah, so this is for a whole list of them. It's a cold calling company or something like that. I don't know a lot about it because I haven't done a lot of research on that part of it yet.
What you said he's talking about this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend he's gonna put it up on YouTube.
What state?
Oh wow, I'll definitely look out for that. What was that, Lindsay?
What state is he in?
Lumberjacks in Maryland, but this company's all over the place. They do cold calling.
Okay, good to know. I would definitely pay that. That's
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not ready to do anywhere near to do that type of stuff, but I want the information.
Wow.
Yeah. So he did his live last night. I watched the video of it because I missed the live, but I'd watch that real quick and it'll give you a lot more information on it.
Okay, good to know. I'll look out for that. Thank you. Well, Lindsay, you have anything else?
No, I think it's a good time to wrap up and have everybody. I'm not gonna be here next week, but Vincent was gonna be here live with you guys. So,
and question for you guys: is everybody getting good material out of this? Is there anything we can do, change, help with, or edit these calls? Anything you guys recommend or suggest?
It's awesome for me.
Good.
A lot of information. It's great.
any suggestions you have, you can message us at school.
Yeah.
Like the recordings for
change a different time.
Well, it's going to be recorded, so you're going to be able to hear what we talking about, so you can refer to it anytime.
What time would be better for you, Rick?
7 a.m. probably.
Yeah, earlier the better.
We have the same thing for ladies of ORAAT. We'll never get the perfect time for everybody.
Oh, after one. Oh, that would be. Are you Pacific Standard Time, Rick? That would be really difficult. I got afternoons are pretty hectic.
Middle of the day is brutal.
Yeah, I got school and sports and stuff. Yeah, I think right now I think we'll stay with this. We'll just.
I like this time slot.
Huh?
Said I like this time slot.
Yeah. I think we're at a good.
I mean, I'm working, but it works for me.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, you guys can message us anytime if there's something you want to bring up. And like we did last week, kind of did a deal review a little bit with Carl. If you guys want to
get them on the
bring
phone,
some deals to look at.
Talk about the contractor.
Huh?
Sorry.
Oh.
I muted whoever it was.
Okay. Yeah, if there's anything you guys want to see or bring up, please just let us know. We're an open book. We'll take any feedback and help out as much as we can. Trying to provide good value and grow from here.
Thank you. That was good. I might send my quotes to Troy and Jim, have them dissected for me and tell me. But anyway, I might reach out to you guys.
Go for it.
Please do. I definitely want people to get the best deals. There are bad contractors, but the majority of them price comparatively. Like right now, some things have changed for me, so I had to lower my prices to make sure I had cash flow. So it just depends on the time and what a contractor is doing. I typically do higher end remodels, but as long as you scope it out and you tell somebody what you need, they can price it accordingly. And that might be not what they do. So they might just tell you right off the top that, hey, I just don't do that type of work. And that's good to know.
Okay. Yeah, I might reach out.
Yeah, you need to create your expectations.
Yeah.
And that part is definitely your job. By creating that scope and saying, hey, this is a property. This is what I'm looking for. I just want repairs. I don't want, you have to create your scope and you have to create your expectations.
Hey, Jen.
Yes.
What market are you in Texas?
I'm in Temple, which is like an hour north of Austin, like in the suburbs.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
You're right between Dallas and Austin in that little area
below
there.
Yeah, below Waco, I guess.
This is something I would recommend. Are you connected to any of the Facebook groups in that area? Because even I would look into Austin, like a real estate investors group in Austin and even in the Dallas area, and just put that out there when you get, because a lot of times when you join those groups are going to ask you a bunch of questions about why you're joining the group and stuff. But after you get in, say, hey, I'm an investor in this market. I'm looking for a contractor to come in and do make ready costs for me on my long-term rental. And then also put it out there, hey, I'm looking at operating a midterm rental. I'm looking for a contractor, a cleaner, an inspector, anybody that would actually benefit your business in operating that. And you're probably going to get a lot of messages of people saying, hey, I can do this. Hey, I can do this. And then, also put out there, just say, hey, does anybody here have a good recommendation of a contractor that they do work with that assists you in making your long-term rentals cost effective and make ready costs? And you're generally going to get quite a few people on those groups that will say, hey, I had this contractor for X amount of years. They've just been my right hand. They do a really good job for a really fair price. Or somebody saying, yeah, I got a really good contractor. He might be a little bit more expensive than some of the other guys, but you can always guarantee he's going to give you the exact price he's going to charge you, and he does the job right, and you don't have to worry.
Okay, that's good advice. I think one of the issues with me and Kenny are we're not that we're not really social media people, so that in itself is a big task for us already. But yeah, understand. I'm in those groups. I'm not active. I'm kind of just lurking around and seeing what other people say. But yes, that would be probably a goal of 25. So that's good.
I wouldn't worry about that because I do the same thing. Like I only use it when I need it, and when I need it, I use it. And so that's what I've done in my own market is gone out there when I needed a plumber, when I needed a landscaper to take care of my property, to do lawn mowing services and maintenance on the property. So, you know, and it's hard for me because I ran a landscape company and did primarily maintenance side of things, like getting estimates, and I'm like, you want to charge me this much? Yeah, go pound sand, buddy.
Understand. Okay, that's great. Thank you for that. Lindsay, I wasn't even going to talk. And now I opened all this up, but great ideas and I appreciate it. But I'll definitely be reaching out to you guys. Yeah, when I'm getting closer to rehab, I'm sure we'll have a bunch of questions for you guys. So thank you for that.
Awesome. We'll see you all next time at the same time on Friday.
Thank you.
You guys have a good week.
See you
Have
guys.
a good weekend.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Have a good one.